Welcome to Motiverse, the place where struggles are not endings, but beginnings of greatness. Here, you'll find the stories of people who gave up their comfort today only to shine brighter tomorrow. If you're ready for truth and inspiration, stay with us till the end. Listen carefully. Here is the big turn for you. Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. The world laughs at you. Your dreams are too big. Your failures are too many. People tell you to stop, to quit, to accept a small life. But something inside whispers, sacrifice today, endure the pain, because tomorrow the world will see who you really are. This is not fantasy. This is history. And tonight, we dive into the sacrifices that turned ordinary people into legends. Abraham Lincoln was not born in a palace. He was born in a log cabin, in poverty so deep that sometimes he had to work just to survive another day. He had less than 1 year of formal schooling. Most people would have accepted this fate: poor, uneducated, forgotten. But Lincoln sacrificed his comfort. By candlelight, after long hours of physical labor, he would read borrowed books, sometimes walking miles just to get his hands on one more page of wisdom. And yet, even with all this effort, failure chased him. He lost his first business. He lost his fiancée. He lost elections again and again. At one point, people said, "Lincoln, he is nothing but a joke." But Lincoln refused to stop. He chose sacrifice over ease, persistence over giving up. Each failure became another step forward. And one day, the man who failed in everything became the president who ended slavery and united a nation. Imagine if Lincoln had quit at failure number 1. The world would never have known his name. His story proves sometimes you don't need fewer failures. You just need one more attempt than everyone else. Now imagine this. You're a young woman full of dreams. Suddenly, a terrible accident shatters your body. Doctors tell you that you may never walk properly again, that your life will be filled with endless pain. This was the reality of Frida Kahlo. She could have accepted despair. She could have lived silently, broken. But she sacrificed her comfort, her ease, and turned her suffering into art. Confined to her bed for months, Frida began to paint. Each brushstroke carried her pain, her struggle, her sacrifice. She painted not what was beautiful, but what was real: her broken body, her broken spirit, and the strength it took to keep living. Today, Frida Kahlo is remembered as one of the most powerful painters in history, not because she had an easy life, but because she turned her sacrifice into eternal art. Her lesson is clear: when life breaks you, you can either hide your scars or paint them into greatness. At 65 years old, most people are ready to rest, to retire, to accept that life is over. But not Colonel Harlan Sanders. With nothing but a chicken recipe and $105 in his pocket, Sanders went from restaurant to restaurant begging them to try his idea. He was rejected not 10 times, not 100 times. Over 1,000 times doors were slammed in his face. People laughed. They told him he was crazy, too old, too late. But Sanders sacrificed his pride and refused to give up. Every rejection was just another step forward. And finally, someone said yes. That yes turned into the empire we know today as KFC, with thousands of restaurants across the world. Think about it. If Colonel Sanders had quit at the 999th rejection, he would have died unknown. But he kept going one more time. That's the power of sacrifice today, shine tomorrow. Now let's step into a dark laboratory filled with strange glowing substances. This is where Marie Curie lived and worked. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, and the only person in history to win it in 2 different sciences. But her discoveries didn't come cheap. She sacrificed her health, her body, and ultimately, her life. Day and night she worked with radioactive materials, not knowing how dangerous they were. The glowing test tubes that fascinated her were slowly poisoning her. Yet she refused to stop. She sacrificed her safety for a greater tomorrow. Her research gave the world X-rays, radiation therapy, and a deeper understanding of science. Her body grew weaker with time, but her legacy grew stronger. Marie Curie is proof that sometimes sacrifice isn't about what you gain, but what you're willing to lose for humanity's future. And finally, imagine this. You are locked in a prison cell, not for 1 month, not for 1 year, but for 27 years. This was Mandela's sacrifice. He gave up his youth, his freedom, his family life, all for one belief, that his people deserved equality. For 27 years, he endured the darkness, hard labor, isolation, and the endless attempt of the system to break his spirit. But Mandela's spirit did not break. And when he finally walked free, he did not walk out with bitterness. He walked out with forgiveness, with peace, with leadership. He went on to unite South Africa and became its first Black president. Mandela's sacrifice was not just personal. It was a gift to millions, proving that even decades of suffering can build a tomorrow brighter than anyone imagined. Sacrifice is not glamorous. It doesn't look like success on Instagram. It doesn't feel like applause or celebration. Sacrifice is silent. It is painful. It is lonely. It is the long nights when nobody is watching. It is the rejection you swallow without tears. It is the discipline that nobody else understands. And yet, it is also the one thing that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Because when tomorrow comes, the people who laughed at you will watch in silence, and the people who doubted you will whisper your name. That's the power of sacrifice. Remember this, pain is temporary. Sacrifice is an investment. And greatness is the return. So ask yourself tonight, what comfort are you willing to give up today so that tomorrow you can live the life you dream of? You've been watching Motiverse. If these stories inspired you, subscribe and join us, because here we don't just tell stories, we reveal the sacrifices that make legends.